Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good day. And then I'll just go ahead and get started then. Ship UA needs someone who is a leader, a lion, a friend, a color coding enthusiast, someone who is never satisfied with meeting standards, but only in exceeding them. Hello, my name is, sorry. Hello, my name is Rafael, and I believe I am this person to serve as the 2021-2022 Ship UA president. I've been a part of SHIP for the last 4 years since 2017 and held several executive positions within SHIP during that time. In 2019, I was the advancement of Latinx and engineering vice president, where I was tasked with hosting an in-person event for over 200 high school students. Then this past year, I was the director of operations, a position I helped form 2 years ago to help alleviate some of the responsibilities of other event VPs. I was tasked this year to help logistically with all the events and help make the vital pivot towards fully virtual events, which was, to say the least, challenging. Every year that I've been here, I have learned more and more about the impact our chapter has on its members and the Hispanic community as a whole. I first came to SHIP because I wanted to change lives. It is a blessing that I am here standing in front of you as a first-generation college student and as a child of immigrant parents. During my undergrad, I was able to get involved in things like New Start, housing resident assistant, a desk assistant, engineering ambassadors, and an undergraduate research assistant, and much more. Positions where I knew I was giving back to the communities who felt underrepresented. One of my defining characteristics is not only to make my family proud, but to show my younger siblings and cousins that anything is possible. Throughout my time here, I've contributed to SHIP in many capacities. Those feats consist of attending NELA, 2 SHIP national conferences, 2-time scholarship recipient, and 2 executive board positions. Additionally, contributing and hosting our outreach events such as ALEX, MESA, La Familia, and Science Day. And do not worry, I attend our socials as well. People who have worked with me know that when I put my mind to something, I see it all the way through. This year alone, my colleagues will say that I was the first in and the last one to leave. Especially during COVID, a lot of us had to make significant adjustments to our positions in order to accommodate. However, that led us to make major milestones such as inviting San Luis to their first ever Science Day, having the highest attendance and first international La Familia, and many unique company-driven workshops for ALEX. If elected, I would hope to surpass Fabian. However, I do know that the bar is high. Fabian is a prime example of what a SHIP member is supposed to represent. With that being said, I want to say thank you, Fabian, for all that you've done for this chapter, and just to let you know that SHIP will be in good hands regardless of the outcomes. For what I have planned for this upcoming year is a push for in-person events to come back once we get the go-ahead. This might be where we're at just yet, but I have a feeling we are almost at that threshold. Even though we had virtual events this year, I believe my prior experience will help shape SHIP to what it was before the pandemic. Additionally, I would hope to hold some of these virtual events this upcoming year, as some of them were a great success and will allow us to reach more people, which was a great benefit. Another goal of mine is to increase our recruitment by hosting more events/socials, things where people can contribute to something more than themselves. That is how I first got involved a few years ago by attending our Valentine's Day auction, which was, to say the least, a pretty good first meeting. So definitely have more of that. I know this past year, we've had some big ideas, but lack the workforce to complete them. This will not be the case for us next year if elected. I hope to give more volunteers to our events, to have more things be able to come true, more workshops to be done, more students that can come. And thanks to this virtual environment that we were able to experience, I see that as a definite possibility. My other hope is to begin recruiting as soon as this summer. And thanks to my ties with engineering ambassadors, the College of Engineering, ESC, I have the network to get us started. Another goal I have is to maintain/increase our sponsors and their presence in our chapters. This year, we were able to seize a large amount of funding, and my hope is to invest that back into our members, whether it's through scholarships, whether it's through financing people through RLDC, SHIP National, NELA, events like that, whatever the case is, that was my goal. Excuse me. And thanks to my years of service, I have developed a relationship with a handful of the sponsors and can only see our connection with them growing stronger. For my final remarks, SHIP to me is not just a club, but a familia. After the 4 years that I have been here, I have made lifelong friends that I can depend on, that I can enjoy life with, and that I can learn from. So I ask of you to put your faith in me just like I put my faith in SHIP. I will not let you down. I will only lift you up. Thank you. And then just to quote Jubin really quick, because he wanted me to share this. This is a quote from the original Latinx artist. Baby, just enjoy me. Don't try to understand me. That's all I got to end it off on. And yeah, that's it.
Thank
I
you,
will now
Rafa.
open up to questions. Yeah.
Thank you for the speech. Good speech.
Thank you.
And then, like what Rafa said, we'll open it up to the floor for questions. Feel free to put your questions in the chat or your mic and speak up.
For Rafa, great speech. Got a quick question here.
Yes.
You mentioned a few goals you had for your own president, but which is most important to you, and why is it the most important goal to you?
That's a very good question. I think I have to say, without a doubt, recruitment. And when I say recruitment, I don't just mean recruitment of students. I mean recruitment of sponsors, companies, all that kinds of sort. Things that are able to help build our chapter, build our network, so we're able to give more opportunities back to our members. A good quote that my girlfriend told me before this meeting started is that we are a club for students by the students. And I truly believe that.
Cool. Great answer, man. Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Yes, Nicholas.
Good job, by the way.
Thank you.
I know anybody who knows you, I think your network is pretty big here at the U of A, and also like, you know, industry wise. How would you use that to your advantage to, like you said, you know, bring in recruitment? Like, do you have a plan on having meetings with them, bringing new companies, perhaps local companies, perhaps engaging more with the College of Engineering, or even the engineering ambassadors?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good question. I'm going to answer that in two separate parts because you have two things going on. So one thing is the on-campus like networking. So like I said before, I have a lot of connections within housing and residential life, engineering ambassadors on campus. I feel like I'm well known, especially with the heads of like departments such as like Dean Hahn, Dean Bajents. Those people know me by name just because I've had to deal with them in terms of hosting our events, hosting our ALEX, LaFam. I was the go-to guy. I was the main communication. So just being able to stay in constant communication as early as like this summer, even after this meeting, perhaps, just letting them know of our plans and how we plan to move forward as a chapter. I think that's a really big thing. And for our sponsor involvement, our involvement off of campus, I think, like you said, what Fabian did great. That I think I'm gonna incorporate into our next year is have meetings with our sponsors early on, be able to get that amount of funding going and those relationships built, so we're able to provide more meaningful meetings to our members, being able to give them more opportunities, such as like internships, co-ops, things where people are able to get hands-on experience as well as be able to build themselves professionally. If anything, I think that we as a chapter can build more on the professional side, being on like the more volunteering side. So yeah, just definitely just keeping in touch with them early on.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Fabian, do you have a question?
Lara has a question. I'll let this one be the last one. So,
Okay.
the e-board multiple times in the last 4 years. What is one thing that you would do differently?
Ooh, was that Lauda? Thank you, Lauda. That was a great question. Good question. I mean, I say if you've been on the e-board, if you've been in part of SHIP, I feel like there's a lot of things that could have been done differently, but what has been done has been done. However, I feel if you're, for anyone that's running for a position today or in the future, one thing that you have to have is initiative. Definitely initiative to get things going. When people are telling you no, I'm usually the one that's saying yes. So like, just being able to put that forward. And in terms of like stuff that I would do differently, in terms of like more or something that's been different from the previous years, just try to get more hands-on involvement to our members. I think a lot of people forget that we are also like community outreach, and not just like professional chapter. And being able to see the faces on like the kids or like the high school students when you're telling them like, oh yeah, like this engineering, and be able to tell them to students like, for example, like Jubin, he attended one of the events and he said, oh yeah, like ALE made me interested in biomedical engineering, and that's what got me to come to U of A. That's what got me into the major, and that's what's got him like this far running for president. You know what I mean? So just being able to give students from underrepresented communities that chance to that exposure to STEM is what I would have done different. If I is something that I would have done differently, just getting more of that.
Thank you, Rafa. And thank you to everybody who's for the questions. And that wraps it up for the president's nominations. So we have Rafa, Jubin, and Dominic running for president.